this will be relatively a merged weekly update. Not sure if I'm going to do this merging more often or not, but we'll start with the short end of the stick. PSO 2/NGS, aka Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. What's new in it is bug updates. That's literally all that's new, other than they unsuspended the set of scratchers. Now, in Halo Waypoint, or Infinite, we've got quite a few things, and I don't know why, but I just started nervously twitching the headphone jack cord, so if it interfered with the audio, I apologize. They did the drop pod at 11 yesterday, so menus and stuff are loading a little faster. So there is that. What's new in the shop is what you see here. I've got the new kill effect, which is this. If it'll load. I like how that Warthog seems to be using a Gauss cannon. Forget the Gauss Hog isn't even in here. I actually kind of like that emblem, but at the same time, not the colors. Not anything else with it. As you can see, this is basically a Fallout themed armor set for the Eagle Strike core. But it does have an interesting emblem if you like dual wielding Magnum dual wielding dogs. Especially without dual wielding being available anymore. Here we go. Here's the effect. As you can see, the fracture entrenched is back, which means the lab grab is up. The drop pod basically was nothing but a bunch of bug fixes, so there's not a whole lot to cover there. Interesting. It's like a Fallout terminal game. And that was actually new. And yes, co-op flighting is only going to be available to Halo Insiders. So if you have any desire to play the campaign co-op anytime within the next couple months, then you need to be a Waypoint / Halo Insider before then. This is this week's weekly challenge, and that's about it on the news. For those who aren't aware of what's in the entrenched, I'll cover that as well. Probably the most normal looking coding / shader for the Wasp. It just makes it look, I don't know, old school United States Air Force. So I don't know why it's locked behind a freaking event, but it is. And as you can see, I have not touched the event at all. Although I do like how most of my challenges are orientated to that. The fracture does include a background, or backdrop, whatever. But I'm not sure how you get it. I think you might just actually have to play a single match. However, we're about to find out if that's the case, because I'm going to showcase a match of what Entrench / land grab really is anyways. Oh yeah, one of the updates they did is basically made the seasonal pictures the default loading screens. So it'll change every season automatically now. That is the only non-real bug fix that's included in this drop pod update.
Please obtain multiple zones.
3 zones incoming.
Oh, guess my teammates weren't exactly aware of the danger of not grabbing the rocket launcher first during the land grab match. Today.
3 zones incoming.
Tango's closing in.
Three zones incoming.
So this is about to be a horrible match.
Spanker available.
It's obvious to me that my teammates are new to the land grab strategy. And again, what the hell's wrong with my controller? It's all funky today.
We've lost a teammate.
We got crushed. Ouch.
Of course, it could also be connection issues too.
They're under us.
Playing a factor because I've had weird connection issues this week.
Enemy shields down.
We should have some. Instead, we're owned.
3 zones incoming. Enemy team nearing victory.
There's no way we're gonna recover this. Not with the way my teammates are. I don't even know how they're doing such.
Defeat.
Like I said, no way we're gonna recover that with the way my teammates are. I guess the word was sucking? I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to put a word on things. But that essentially is entrench / lab land grab, so Think of it as, for those veterans of video games, the original Star Wars Battlefront Conquest mode. Not the remakes that EA did, but the actual LucasArts Battlefronts. That did not unlock the nameplate for the event, so, or backdrop, whatever. So I'm guessing it's exclusive to the first week of the event, the very first dropping of the Fracture, which was May 24th through the 30th. So by that logic, if you didn't play then, you won't get it. Which is kind of stupid, especially considering the first week is always like the most short notice. Most people normally don't have the time at that point, especially during May. But yeah, that's all that's really new on both the front of Halo Infinite and NGS. So there is one thing I've been thinking about recently.
Personality software update complete.
Looking at the AIs, several of them could easily have counterparts. For example, those who played Halo Reach should remember Dot, the AI. That would be a perfect counterpart to Superintendent.
You have my full confidence, Spartan. I'm honored to work with you.
Butler sounds like an actual butler. However, a counterpart would be essentially, I guess you would call it maiden? I don't know. Basically a female version of Butler that's more maid-like.
Let's show them what we're made of.
Let's get to work.
Search, whatever it's pronounced, would be a little difficult to figure out exactly, but obviously she would need a male counterpart. Fred's kind of easy. We would just need a less dorky but equally self-conscious and introverted female AI. And for Luma, we would just need essentially a very monotone-ish male voice. Maybe call it Solus or something. That's the male counterpart of them. And I'm saying this because I found it kind of weird, mainly that they have these personality types for each of the AI, but they're only gender specific. Even though that some people would like different gender with personalities of sorts for the personal AIs. On a side note, hold on. Where was I? Oh yeah. On a side note, I've had some ideas for ideas for two different AIs that I've drew inspiration from existing Halo media, let's put that way. Now with the fractures, we've got alternative Halo universes mixed in. Now, what if we took the Yori armor set, put cat ears on it, the cat ears attachment, coupled with a tiger-like face mask that covered most of the visor, using the Kabuto-based helmet on it. And then for shoulder pads, did more of Honored Guard-like design, like the Elite Honored Guard design for the shoulders and leg attachment stuff, and knees and whatnot. And then put a more Japanese-sounding samurai voice on it that's basically a Japanese version of Master Chief's character, but inside it's a anime based demi-human beastman, so to speak, and use the term Meower Chief. They already have the Meower Chief concept as just Master Chief's armor without the helmet and a cat face on top. Of course, the interesting part would be occasionally mixing in Japanese words into it whenever the character speaks. Now on the flip side, you could have Natana, using the Japanese version of the cat's sound effects, N-Y-A, and Tana, and make essentially a heavily anime style Cortana without armor, of course, and basically make her a cat girl, anime style cat girl. And then you would have the female counterpart give her something similar to Cortana's personality, but add more again, more Japanese words mixed in. Give them both more like cat related puns or whatever that could be or could not be intentional in their dialogue, and give them both more cat like traits than the original characters, but still using the original characters' personalities as a basis. Those by themselves would make for a really fun fracture related AIs to put in this. Another thing I found that I think would make some for interesting things is you have these AIs, right? And they each have a color palette system. But what if they each had an original, unique to them color? And when it's eclipsed, it gave them a unique appearance. For example, where's the emblem? when using that unique appearance on Butler. Once I find the emblem in question. Butler would actually have that monocle and mustache on his hologram. In addition, it would introduce the ability to wear an actual monocle on, like, attachment on the Spartan helmets. The reverse, Maiden, Maideen, Maid, would basically be one of those maid-style brims, hairband things. That could also be an attachment to the helmets, with each AI having their own unique attachments and color schemes that associate with them. Then another cool idea I had was, in the franchise, we see a lot of special effects when the AIs talk. For example, in Infinite, the helmet's chip slot flashes different colors when the weapon's in there talking or whatever. And we see the helmet's backside. What if some visors unique to the AIs existed that also reflect that? Kind of like in real life how you have the Alexa / Echo / Dot terminals that have those rings that change colors and respond when they're talking in accordance to the way they're talking. Pulse, so it looks like, I don't know. Probably get what I'm saying. It's just some ideas thrown out there that would be really interesting to see made reality and probably improve a lot upon customization at least, and maybe even the fractures, especially if each fracture then has sort of a relative story added to it, characters added to it in maybe comic book style, and AIs to go with it based off the characters in the comic book style story that could be exclusive to Halo Waypoint or Easter eggs found in maps or fractures. Honestly, the fractures right now are kind of limited because, well, there's not really anything to them but a game mode. If each fracture had very maps to go with them, for example, in Entrenched, edited version of the existing maps that make them look heavily worn, torn. Craters, skeletons, bullet holes, signs of a major World War style battle all over the place. The Yori fracture could just give everything more Asian / Japanese architecture and flair to the maps. Just doing that alone and adding Easter eggs regarding these new characters and stories into the maps while you're playing the modes would give more interest to the fractures. They're not making them feel not simply just an event where you get new armor, but also like there's a story behind it, like canon, where it's just alternate dimensions, alternate realities. Because, well, we already know that Forerunner's Shield worlds don't exist in the same reality. Well, their interiors don't exist in the same reality as the rest of the universe is. So we know it's possible to have cross-reality, cross-dimensional travel with Forerunner technology, so it even turn that into a way to explain the fractures. However, I'm out of time, so talk to you next time. Or see you next time, whatever.